What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the From Corner Corner podcast, episode 305. 305.
It just don't
I
have
didn't see you because I was showing the.
it just don't have the same ring anymore. It's like we led all the way up to 300. We're like 300. Now we're like 305. Oh well, we got another 95 to go to another milestone. Yeah.
It doesn't matter till you get to 395.
It's like
We could just start counting them in hundreds.
oh, that would just be boring.
This episode 800.
People on YouTube be like, what?
Where's the
episodes? Lost to the ether.
Oh my gosh.
Well, so what's on the docket?
I was kind of hoping that Adam would be here.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
You don't know the words? I don't either, so.
I've never
You know what lives on you, okay?
I've
You
never
would-
heard him actually sing
Yeah,
words.
you know what? And that's
Oh,
one of my biggest pet
you
peeves
okay?
on you.
These are pet peeves.
I said pet
Peeves.
I got distracted by him going. One of my biggest pet peeves is that thing says, "You okay?" That bothers me. It's UK.
Right.
Now, you can't say at Louisville. You have to say U of L. You can't say UL because it just sounds weird. But there's some people that'll be like, "Oh yeah, did you go to UK?" It's not UK. It's UK.
Well, that's a Western Kentucky thing. Because when you go down, I dated a girl from E-Town. She was going to school up here,
Mhm.
and when I met her, I was like, "Where do you go to school?" I was going to Eastern. She said, "I go to U of K," and I was like, "No, you don't." I was like, "U of K is in Kansas.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
UK
Exactly.
is in Lexington. So
So,
where do you
It
go to?"
is University of Kentucky.
That doesn't matter. Take the of out. That doesn't even sound right. U of K.
You know, the funny thing about the Western Kentucky stuff is maybe we've talked about this before, but like I'm from Grayson County, which is down in Western Kentucky. Up here, people refer to soft drinks as pop.
It's pop.
In Western
They say
Kentucky,
soda.
everything's Coke. Everything is Coke.
Okay,
I'll give you that. If you
That's-
said it was soda,
No,
then I'm gonna send you back to New York.
was Coke. Whether it was Coke,
You got-
Pepsi, Mellow Yellow, Mountain Dew, everything was Coke.
got a big cup of yellow drink there, yellow Mountain Dew, Mellow Yellow, or something like that. We got Coke. I don't think so.
So when I moved up here, when my freshman year, I was like, when I asked for a Coke, they gave me a Coke. I was like, I don't want that. I want a Mountain Dew. They're
Well,
like,
you said
you
Coke.
said Coke, and I was like, yeah, they're all that. It's like,
They didn't say what kind of pop do you want.
no, no.
Well,
But
that's
I
wrong,
have.
because
But when I first heard pop, I was like, what are you talking about?
because it is Porch Pop season.
Yeah.
It was Porch Pop season. Then it kind of went out of it. But by Thursday, it's gonna be Porch Pop season because it's gonna be 38. Perfect.
Do you
Go out there Friday morning.
legit set
I
20
don't.
porch?
I don't.
I
But
mean, I know Adam does.
well,
Wouldn't
yeah.
that just give you a little bit of ice in it or something?
I mean, who doesn't want?
I was getting ready to ask, did Sean even know what porch pop season was?
Who
Yeah,
doesn't,
because I've known Adam long enough to know.
who doesn't want a pop that is set outside? You get up the next morning and it's 38 degrees in your hand when it's only probably 40 out of the refrigerator, maybe 45 out of the refrigerator. It's still cold.
I have
Right.
my refrigerator set
But
on 50
38
degrees.
porch pop. That's what dreams are made out of.
Especially if you get set L8s in the glass bottle out there.
Mm. They don't
Where
break. They stay clear, and then you go like that, and you go.
as soon as you open it, it freezes from the bottom to the top. Just like that.
I hate that. Why would you?
Oh, God, on.
There is no, which they've gone away from
Gotta
the.
wait for it to melt to drink it.
Well, I mean, that's the whole challenge.
That
And if you stick a straw in it, I'm gonna smack your face.
Stick a straw in the bottle?
Yeah, so you're like, oh, yeah, insane people.
returnable bottle, which you can't get anymore.
You can't get any more.
Rip.
Yeah.
Because they have one machine
Moment of silence, please.
and nobody knows how to fix it. We can cure cancer, we can do all this other stuff. We cannot figure out how to fix the machine that cleans the
Do you really
bottles.
want to drink out of a bottle that 100 other people have drank out of?
Yeah.
Absolutely
What makes it
100%.
taste better?
There is no you cannot tell me an L8 out of a plastic bottle, what they have glass bottles now, and a returnable bottle and a fountain are the same.
It's because you're tasting
No.
spit.
It doesn't. I don't. If that's what it is, okay.
I mean, have I gotten a returnable bottle and before I drank it, I looked and went, uh-oh.
Some of them are a little cloudy.
Yeah, well, and then
But you know what?
maybe
It tastes 100 times better than any other way of drinking that L8.
I have set down a couple of those that's had something in the bottom, like, oh, they didn't get that one clean.
And as
But-
an employee here in the city of
Have I
Winchester,
drank it? 100%.
I can tell you the reason returnable bottles went away is not got anything to do with money. There was one guy that knew how to fix that machine, and he died. Nobody else knows how to rig this machine.
Talk about, you always want to make sure that you're not expendable. That dude was not expendable.
Sounds like you've got a new mission in life.
Yeah, learn how to fix a machine.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm pretty good fixing.
How much do you want? Well, open up the checkbook. Okay, no problem.
I don't know, 1% perpetuity for the rest of my life of all future sales.
Perpetuity or perpetuity?
Yeah, that's what I said.
In perpetuity.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's not what he said.
Oh shoot! All right, so what about Pope beating Duke?
I told you all last week that he made those guys understand what that meeting of the two teams meant. And that is 100% what won them that game.
What about the fact that you have seen the video? I'm sure you've seen the video now of him at the end of the game basically calling the play that Cooper Flagg was going to run.
Yeah.
And it worked to perfection.
Yeah.
Do you know what that's called? 15 years.
Wait a minute. Are we supposed to do this like Pee Wee's Playhouse? Is when you say the word of the day, you're supposed to scream?
Hey, did you see David Montgomery do the
Yeah,
music?
yeah.
That was so awesome. I mean, Duke manhandled them the first, 35. Yeah.
I promise you, keep
You know what I personally thought when I was sitting there watching the game? I thought about our guest last week, Bradley, when he said, we may not have the talent that you do, which, I mean, Pope's got talent, but they got out-athleted.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and in the past, particularly more recently over the last 4 or 5 years, Kentucky has been the one at the end of these games that did not have the experience
Right. Yes.
to win these types of games.
Yeah.
We always played against the team that had the experience and lost because we didn't have the experience. This time the roles were reversed.
Yeah.
We had the experience, maybe not together as a core, but these guys have played a lot of basketball games.
100%.
And, I'll be honest with you. The kid from Wake Forest, Carr, That dude's a heck of a lot better than I thought he was going to be. I mean,
He's awesome.
Well,
He's a beast.
it doesn't hurt that he's seen all those guys before, or a big load of them. Anyways, he's already seen those
point.
for 4 years.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, and Jackson didn't really play that well.
And Jackson didn't play all that well, and we're still able to. He's still able to be like, okay, I'm not hitting a lot of shots. I'm going to continue to take a few shots, but I know that I can hand it off, facilitate a little bit more. I'm going to make the extra pass that that gets somebody out. It gets Kirk Ariza open, or gets Carr open, or
that dude,
or
he is a hoot.
catch Lamont Butler going down
So,
down the lane.
a European thing for his name to be Kerr on the
Yeah.
front of his jersey?
Yeah. Yeah, once you cross the pond, a lot of your first names are on the back of your jersey.
They said that at one point during the game.
Did they?
I think it was Jay Billis.
They also said Knipple. I mean, a million times.
Yeah.
And it's not spelled Knipple.
Spelled
But that's what it says. It's what it says. Knipple. 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 Knipple.
I mean, that's about as many times as you all put it in the chat.
On Knipple. I mean, if I'd have kept
Wes and I started taking a shot, I was drunk about halfway through the second half. We started taking a shot every time he said Knipple.
we didn't even get 4 minutes into the second half.
I mean,
And I said, well, there's number 8.
that dude was
There's number 9.
pretty good.
Yep.
I swear, at one point, when I put it in the chat, at one point, I thought Jay Billis was just trying to see how many times he can Knipple.
I will say, though, again, it came down to coaching. No, I'm sorry. It came down to coaching because they shut him down in the second half. I brought back so many memories. It's just hitting Sean right now. I was like,
The day and every time. That'll be fantastic.
but I mean, they pretty much shut almost everybody down in the second half except for Cooper Flag, because Cooper Flag is that dude. He is that good.
Yeah.
But
In the first half, though, it was like, where's all the hype? Because in the first half, he was good.
Yeah.
He was good the whole game.
I mean, he's 17. He was probably a little overwhelmed playing Kentucky.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. In the first half, everybody's Cooper Flag. I'm like, yeah, he's good, but he ain't what you're saying. And in the second half,
yeah,
he turned on.
Yeah.
And second half, I was like, okay, I see it now.
But I didn't know he was 17 until you told me that. Maybe the next day or the Monday. I
didn't know that till he said that just now.
We were talking and you were like, he's 17?
Which means he'll have to be there another year. You can't go to the NBA until you're 19.
Well, that's what I was getting to say then. He'll
have 2 years. Great. But
I mean,
but does
I
that?
thought it was just one year of amateur ball.
No, it's an age.
Yeah, you can't.
It doesn't say you have to play amateur ball. It says
Why do
you.
they keep projecting him as the number 1 pick in this upcoming draft? Then,
Well, I mean, unless he's already
justified to get to Duke. I know that.
I mean, unless he's already 18 now, and before that date that flips, he'll be 19. It would be.
I'm almost positive you have to be 19.
Yeah, that's the rule. You have to be 19.
That's what forces you to play 1 year of college ball.
Yeah. Or play
prep school.
Overtime elite or prep school or play overseas. Like someone's played in Australia and then turn 19 and then they get drafted by the NBA. So I think the guys that were drafted not last year before, the twins, Eamon and the Thompson twins,
Seward Thompson.
They played overtime elite.
Yeah.
Until they were 19 and then went to the league.
Yeah.
So
that's just like skipping school altogether at that point.
Right. I mean, they got paid.
Yeah.
Of course, and that may have been before NIL really got going.
Mm-hmm.
At least on the surface, right?
Now it's just like, oh, I'm gonna go play ball because I can win a national championship, and I can get paid.
Well, speaking of NIL, I don't have this on the notes, but since you brought it up,
Are you talking about the quarterback?
the Michigan one,
Yeah.
that Michigan offered
Well,
the dude,
he's committed to LSU.
yeah, and he has reaffirmed that.
Right.
But Michigan offered him $10 million.
Now, do you know his mistake? Have you heard about his mistake?
No.
So he put out on his Twitter what the offer was. And I don't know if he said, like, yeah, right, or something like that. But he put it out, and his agent called him, and immediately it came back down because his agent is trying to say, well, we've got this behind closed doors. I've got this. Well, now I've got this. Well, now I've got this. He's trying to put, and whatever he did, he kind of put a stop to it. Like, what are you doing? I'm trying to get you as much money as possible. I'm trying to get me as much money as possible, which is the gross part of it that
Yeah.
Neil hates and I hate. These kids getting paid, whatever. But leave these handlers, agents, and stuff like that. Leave them guys out of it until you
Right.
can become pro. But he was trying to play back and forth, and he's kind of ruined that now. So,
Yeah, because if he's turning down 10, he's probably getting more than that at LSU.
maybe he might be getting less.
But maybe he just really wants to play at LSU.
And that may be true. He's going to have a new coach.
Do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Brian Kelly's out.
Well, they definitely are eliminated.
Yeah, and then he got into it on the sidelines with a couple players after the game.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, look that up.
So,
not grabbing helmets
does Brian Kelly resurface somewhere else?
Yeah, he's not going to be out of football.
So how is it that he's had the success at Notre Dame and cannot find that success at LSU?
You got me?
Just the sheer lack of talent or lack of competition that he had to play at Notre Dame?
Probably.
It is the SEC.
Probably.
That's what I was going to say. It's the fact he's coaching in the SEC.
Yeah. But
and you've got Texas and Oklahoma in there now too.
Yeah.
you got Texas.
But
Oklahoma's going to have a new coach.
You got beat by Alabama.
we
LSU
in our hot seat.
Let's speak up. Coaches on the hotseat.com. I wondered if Brian Kelly's up on top now. No, it'll still be stupid Trent Dilford. Trent Dilford's on the hot seat. I can't believe there's a website. I still haven't looked it up. I meant to. Coaches on the hot seat. You typed in Google coaches on the hot seat, and that was one of the first things that came up.
Yeah.
Google.
.com for everything.
Really? Can't you?
Coacheshotseat.com.
They paid a lot of money to be. They are at the top of the page.
Let's see. Don Brown, the UMass coach, is now the number one guy on the list.
Jeez, get off that.
Marshall, Trent Dilfer.
That is awful. Stop talking. It's awful.
Yeah. Hey, there's Sonny Gumby.
They're speaking of Brian Kelly. They were just that was Florida putting them.
I thought you were pointing to the coacheshotseat.com.
At number 11 on this list. Mark Stoops has dropped to
coaches on hot seat on ESPN. I'll be like, oh no.
Brent Venables at 18. Brent Venables.
No. Brent Vegetables.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going with that. Brian Kelly is not on this list, but Neil Brown is 19.
Well, yeah. There's another one's going to be out. Where are we?
Coacheshotseat.com.
We were getting ready to pick games.
Huh?
Isn't that what you said? Let's pick some games?
No, I did not say that. So the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season again. Can they do it in the playoffs?
No. No. Who's their coach?
Andy Reid.
No, Bills. Sean McDermott.
Oh yeah.
No, he chokes in the playoffs every year, and how they beat him is kind of beyond me. Other than having decent
Patrick
defense.
Mahomes does not have any weapons.
Oh, no. Kareem. They shut down Kareem Hunt. I guess the Bills' defense played much better last week than they. I mean, that's not that
But
they're playing terrible.
like they always beat them in the regular season.
Yeah, but it's just they had Curtis Samuel playing. They
They
had
didn't
they
have
get
Cooper and they didn't have Coleman either.
right. Shakur played okay, but I mean,
Cook scores 2 touchdowns with a combined 32 yards.
right? Yeah,
Bro,
it was an odd game.
yeah.
But
Defense stepped up for them. I mean, Aaron Dolan, her bet of the day was Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception over a half of interception. It was like 0.5, and it hit on the first play of the game. He literally threw an interception on the first play of the game. So it's like, man, you talk about cashing out on that.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They're the Chiefs. They probably needed a humbling game. And okay, you all played terrible defense this game. Let's come back down. Andy Reid can now say, "Come back down.
I know.
We're eating your nuggies, and let's."
I know. Last week we talked about picking our Super Bowl matchups and stuff, right? If the Ravens have to play the Chiefs or the Steelers to get to the Super Bowl, they ain't doing it. They can't beat those two teams.
Does that come back on Lamar or does that come back on John Harbaugh?
I think a little bit of both, but like I was listening to a couple of different shows today, and they were talking about that, and like these are the guys that like break down film and stuff like that, and they say that Lamar plays different when he plays against Pittsburgh. It's like like for some odd reason yesterday they decided they were going to throw the ball. They threw the ball 33 times, only ran the ball 19. They are a run first team. They wasn't even trying to run the ball.
I mean, yeah,
but Pittsburgh's defense and Denver's defense, holy crap!
Yeah, I agree with
Both
that.
those teams, their defenses are insane.
I agree with that.
And Bo Nix might be the best quarterback in this class.
You're welcome.
He might be the best quarterback in this class,
and it's
because he's getting better.
I've heard a few guys, on a different side of on the fantasy side. I've heard a lot of guys say maybe it's coming to the point where you're seeing these guys come into college, and come into the to NFL that have had 4 or 5 years under their belt, and they're ready to make that switch a lot quicker than your Anthony Richardson, per se. Your guys that stayed 2 years, that played for 2 years, or played for 2 years regardless. They redshirted completely their freshman year, play for 2 years and gone, or they didn't redshirt their first year, but they only played. After their junior year or their sophomore, their redshirt sophomore year, they go to the NFL and they're 22 years old instead of
like 15 college games under his belt.
Right.
Right.
And
it's like, who's that remind you of? Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
Right? He only had like 12, 13 college games.
How many USC quarterbacks can we name off? Matt Leinart.
Mark Sanchez.
There's another one. Well, for some odd reason, I want to say Jimmy Garoppolo, but that might not be right.
No, he was.
There was
in the MAC.
There was another one. There was another one around that same time that they played Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold.
That only played 1 year. Great year. Go to the NFL.
Matt Leinart played more than 1 year, didn't he? Yeah, he was there a couple of years.
He still wasn't very good.
Not in the NFL, he wasn't. But I understand a lot of times that it depends on the landing spot, right? I get it. that Bo Nix may have fell into the perfect spot, but like he just looks like he's getting better.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean,
It doesn't hurt that he's got, you know,
he's making
Sean Payton as his coach.
he's making some of those. He's making freaking Sutton into a fantasy
Because
relevant wide.
because he finally realized, oh, that's the guy I'm supposed to be throwing it to.
Yeah.
Because he catches everything I throw to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Cortland's like, yeah, all you put it. All you gotta put it is
kind of the ball.
this area right here. I'll catch it, and he's put it in that window.
Yeah.
You know, Corey Franklin had a terrible combine, terrible underwear Olympics, as Neil would say. Got pushed down to the 5th or 6th round, and everybody was like, "Well, he's done." And for the first 6 games of the season, terrible. Now all of a sudden, in the last 4, he's like, "Oh, that I remember that guy." You know, they put him out on the field, and he's like, him and Troy are like, Bo's like, Troy, just get in that area where you used to do it at Oregon, and he does.
Yeah.
And he's got another rookie, Bailey, that's played pretty well. So Sean Payton's just put him in a position, and it just continues to learn more and more and more each week. Just put the ball in these windows. I promise you, will be successful, and he's doing it.
I mean, I think the AFC is going to be a really tough out. The Chargers are playing well.
Playing well.
The Steelers are playing well. Like
the Chargers are playing well, throwing the ball.
The Chiefs can win and get to the Super Bowl. I think that some teams are catching up with them.
It's not possible because just like you said, the Chiefs' defense is.
Forget about Houston; they're pretty good too.
Yeah, they figured CJ out. CJ needs Nico. Nico coming back tonight helps.
And a lot more than what they normally.
And they're still losing.
Have they lost? They've only lost 2 games, right?
No.
What are they, 6-4? No. I think they were better than that.
But at the beginning of the season, it was all about the Chiefs' defense. Well, the Chargers' defense is number 1.
Yeah.
Number 1. And you're like,
although
the Charger.
Burrow and Chase lit them up in the second half last night.
Denver's defense is really stout. And both, the Steelers' defense. I mean, even Ravens' defense is good, except for they're a pass funnel team. They stop the run.
Yeah.
But you can pass on them.
Yeah.
But although Russell Wilson did not.
Yeah, that was a typical Steelers Ravens game.
Yeah, right.
When I saw the over under at 48, I was like, "Ooh, man, that probably is a good bet under."
Yeah, I would agree. I didn't know it was that high.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the NFL playoffs are going to be good.
From now until the rest of the season, the NFL is going to be really good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So Adam had sent this out today. If Notre Dame continues to win, they will more than likely bump out an SEC team. Who is it? Part of the conversation. I haven't played the video yet.
That's a little surprising because so the majority of you all have that. I don't have that. But you've got Georgia, and I'm just trying to think of old time. Alabama.
But
no,
I mean,
no.
Come on.
But by record, all those guys right there Has Missouri only got 2 losses?
I don't know. They lost to
They lost to South Carolina. I think they've got 3 losses.
There's no.
But all those guys only have 2 losses or less. So, yeah, A&M
may be what knocks them out.
right, exactly.
Texas is 5. This is conference records. Texas is 5-1. A&M is 5-1. Georgia's 6-2. Tennessee 6-2. Georgia beat Texas. Georgia beat Tennessee. Alabama 4-2. Who beat Georgia? And Ole Miss is 4-2. South Carolina surprisingly is 5-3. Missouri is 3-3. For some odd reason, they've only played 6 conference games. LSU obviously got eliminated with Florida loss.
Everybody else is eliminated.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I could see. I mean, a lot of people are pushing the Ole Miss win over Georgia, and of course, every time Georgia wins, that makes that win even better. But like you said, in the grand scheme of things, Texas and A&M control their own destiny.
Yeah, sure. Because whoever wins that game goes to the conference championship.
Adam, I texted him and asked him about the flag because I knew he would know. No, he does not have to play another year. 1 year removed from high school is the rule now.
So they changed that. Because I thought they had to be 19, but they must have changed that. I must have missed that. Well, I mean, he needs to go to the NBA, and he'll be young, and he'll struggle a little bit, but he's he'll be fine. But in my eyes, I think it's Ole Miss getting bumped out because the UK loss.
Yeah, I could see that
because Tennessee did get beat by Georgia, but Georgia's had a lot of good wins.
And Georgia has,
and they don't play anybody.
They're done. They're done in the SEC. Georgia is. They've got Georgia Tech and UMass.
Georgia Tech game might be pretty good.
But it doesn't count in SEC. So
no, but it does count over. Well, true. Because
whoever wins the SEC championship is in. So no matter what.
I'm glad you brought this up. So as long as where's those standings? So Texas, whoever wins against Texas A&M, they're in to the conference championship.
Yes.
After that,
is that the Friday after Thanksgiving? It's it's Saturday after Thanksgiving, the 30th.
Okay. So after that, what's the
Texas
top?
Has Kentucky this week. I mean, that could be a tough.
Stop it?
Kentucky plays these teams like they
on the road. Just from a. But after that, what's the tiebreaker? Because you're going to have Georgia with 2 losses. You're going to have Tennessee with 2 losses. You're going to have Bama with 2 losses. You're going to have Ole Miss with 2 losses. So what's the tiebreaker?
All right, here we go.
I meant to look that up, and
well, the way this season's went,
and that's
problem going to be it's going to be a true tiebreaker because you're going to say, well, Ole Miss lost to Kentucky, and then this one lost to this one, but this one lost to this one. Time you go all the way around, everybody lost to everybody.
Yeah, Alabama beat Georgia. Georgia's beat Tennessee and Texas, but lost to Ole Miss. It's just kind of like, where does the circle stop?
Okay, so they have 6 potential tiebreakers. Number 1, head-to-head competition is the easiest tiebreaker. Did Team A beat Team B? Number 2, record versus all common conference opponents. Number 3, record against highest best placed common conference opponent. in the conference standings and proceeding through the conference standings among tied teams.
That was a lot of words I didn't even. I lost. I read that the fourth word. I went. I don't know what you're talking about. I was thinking about. Common, common opponents.
Yeah.
That's probably.
You're the only one put the asterisk.
Well,
You think Georgia what?
I think Georgia will win the SEC championship game.
There you go.
Because I'm doing it by the end of the season rankings,
So
Now this
not by week to week. Like some have.
get a chance to talk about this last week, so I just figured we'd talk about it this week.
Okay.
Is the Dynasty Football League expanding? Let's talk about it.
So
Still on board, by the way.
So, Sean, what do you want to?
Is the Dynasty League expanding? I thought we just said this.
Well, no. Then you said let's talk about it.
Yeah, I should have said.
Talk amongst yourself. Here's the trick. Does the Dynasty Football League expand?
Are you
Don't
for
get
Clemson?
glimpsed. Huh?
Are you for?
Saturday Night Live, and Darren said and it's exactly what I was going for.
That's a Mike Myers. He's playing a woman, and he says,
Come amongst yourselves. Here's the topic.
I don't.
Broadway is beautiful.
I don't know that I remember.
Barbra Streisand.
I caught that.
Oh, I am so extremely disappointed in you.
Sorry.
We're this age that we would have known the Mike Myers stuff. Oh, the other two, I'm glad Darren at least. The other two, though, would have been like, "What are you all talking about? You bunch of idiots!"
I mean, I've watched it, but I wasn't religious when it comes to Saturday Night Live.
we didn't ask you if you knew Jesus. If you would, you would have watched Saturday Night Live because the church lady was on there.
That's right.
Oh, sure.
And she would have blessed you, and you
Turn your blood bottoms. Watch yourself.
Chopping broccoli.
isn't that special?
Okay, now that we got Saturday Night Live brought up, I have a bracket idea that was brought to me by one of our listeners.
Okay.
That's another bread guy.
All right.
Do we put out there Saturday Night Live characters in a bracket? Like the
That would be good.
or Wayne's World.
Those wild, crazy
The
guys.
wild and crazy guys.
Hans and Franz.
Franz.
We want to.
You Franz, and we're gonna pump.
Or Farrell and Chris Kattan doing
Will Ferrell and Anna Gasteyer, the Spartans cheerleaders.
Spartans cheerleaders.
Gosh.
The Blues Brothers. Oh, you've gone back a little further.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because
The cheeseburger guy.
we were talking the other day, and I was like, we were talking about. He said he was flipping through the channels, and he come across one of Jim Carrey's movies, and then it went to Liar Liar, and he goes, "Is Liar Liar Jim Carrey's funniest movie?" And then of course it starts the topic, and then we start talking about all these comedians, and then the next thing we know, I was like, could we do a comedian type of tournament? And he goes, is the outcome have a possibility of being anyone other than Jim Carrey. If you were doing a comedian like actors like Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell, does it have a chance of not being Jim Carrey? Because I feel like a lot of times we do these tournaments and we already know who's going to be the Final Four and who's going to win. Although the superhero one did surprise me.
So did the.
So you think Jim
Birthday.
Carrey's a Christmas tree cake?
We all knew Christmas tree cake was
No, that was so stupid. Y'all messed that up bad.
You tell him. You look right in that.
Yeah, 100%. It's video, so I can look right in the camera and go,
It's coming back
straight up.
weeks.
But yeah, and see, we can never do that again because we know exactly how it's going to end up.
We just got to come up with different cakes.
It's
We're gonna expand it. It's gonna just be a little baby.
sprinkles on top. Stupid. It's the same damn
Just
thing.
put little.
This year we're doing Christmas tree cakes only. So the donuts, the brownies,
I know you're true. You're true.
the cakes, the nutty bars.
Here's what you do. You put the Christmas cakes as the defending champion and play another tournament out,
But see,
and then see who goes against.
they left out the best Christmas tree cake this year.
The chocolate.
The burnt Christmas tree.
The burnt.
They left it out.
Have you seen the video? I got your wife on this, where they're doing the video, and he's like, apparently I've been eating Christmas cakes and Christmas tree cakes wrong all the time. And he goes, supposedly you're supposed to eat at the base first, and it tastes like gingerbread. And they go, and he does it, and he takes a bite, and he goes, oh my God, it does. It tastes just like gingerbread. So I said to him and Jessica, and she goes, I cannot wait till I get home. I'm going to try this.
What was it I said? You eat else upside down.
If you turn a Big Mac upside down, it tastes like something.
Tastes like a snow cookie.
Mercy.
And she bit hard, and I'm like, yeah, I read today if you eat a Big Mac upside down, it tastes like a snow cone.
Oh shoot, that was pretty good.
What are we talking about again?
Tournament for Saturday Night Live characters.
Yeah, I think we should.
See if we can come up with 16.
Oh, that's easy.
16. The hard part's going to be, it's not come up with 16. It's get down to 16.
Yeah, because and can we?
Well, I mean, we could do the elimination brackets like we've done before. Where you put 4 and then have them vote them forward to the 16.
We do it cartoon style. We took what? 60. We took 70, 90.
That's the only way to do it, because you can't.
Actually,
There's no way we could seed and put Hans and Franz against, say, one of Jimmy Fallon's characters, because there's no comparison. The show is totally different.
So 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and then current.
I mean, if you're going to do Blues Brothers and then though, you got to go back further than the 90s.
So
we did
70s, 80s.
We did 60s, 70s. Which I mean, when did it come on? In the late 70s?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
so you'd have to do
the first cast was
80s,
like Murray,
90s,
Chevy Chase,
and then the 2000s. The 32. Then we could do elimination style, 4, that could cut it down a little bit. You seed your top 8 seeds, and then you could do some play-ins if you wanted to get it down a little bit more. You could do that.
know how
coaches show, we're not going to ask these kids and coaches to come on during the holiday season, of course, there are a lot of them going to be playing basketball tournaments.
Wait. I have to bring this up. Paul Skeens He's talking live to see ESPN right now, and he looks like
Paul Skeens won Rookie of the Year.
he looks like he is in a country club, in a leather chair with a green shaded lamp and a fireplace
You
as
realize
tall
his
as.
girlfriend is rich, right?
Well, I mean, he's not bad off.
Yeah, well, he ain't got the money.
But that scene right there looked like it was out of a Angela Lansbury book.
I wonder if he started that off with, "Do you know who I am?
No, you know what he started off with?
I'm
Neil,
I'm a
Neil,
big deal.
Neil, we miss you.
Me.
Neil, we miss you. You know what he started off with?
Alexa,
Alexa,
volume
volume 2.
Are you like, ah, so good.
One more thing I thought about before he got distracted. Did you all see, speaking of SNL, that Weekend Update did a joke less than 24 hours later from the fight on Friday? Colin Jost was the one that brought it up,
They're pretty good.
and he said Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fought last night and defeated everybody that was watching.
Yeah, right.
One line,
I don't.
one joke.
I don't
That's
know.
all. So
I thought it would be any different. I didn't watch it.
Oh, no, it was gonna be it's a scripted fight. I know what is best about it is that Netflix majorly screwed it up.
yes, they did.
How do you not expect
Well, they are
to
becoming
not?
extremely popular on the internet because
Oh, yeah.
these videos going WWE on January 1st, and then
Yeah.
they're like,
And wait,
But just like I said, there is no way
like I said though.
WWE gets 120 million people.
What if the problem started in like 10 million?
No, it wouldn't have made it to 120
I
million.
can't believe 120 million people watched that. That's so stupid.
But you got it free if you had Netflix, right?
If you have Netflix, yeah.
That just shows you how many people have Netflix.
Which is why the WWE went to. I mean, look, there are people that have Netflix that don't have cable. So the viewership on the WWE, I promise you, will be a high number. It won't be 120 million, but I bet it could reach 5 million.
It shows you how many people have Netflix and shows you how dumb it is that Netflix
It's financially in trouble.
is so financially in trouble that they've got to crack down on, like, my mom and I were splitting the bill, and now I had to get my own because it says you don't live in the same household. It's 120 million people
now on the cheap account.
Oh, I'm down to the ads thing because once you go up and you can allow more than 4 people, then you'll get hacked immediately. I ran into that. So I'm down to the $7.99 that only allows for
Two
devices, which we don't ever have more than 2 devices going at the same time. But 2 devices to go. But once you go up 14 or 15 or 16
the
dollars,
$15.99
Yeah.
plan, which is 2 devices at a time, but no ads.
I had somebody in Atlanta watching. I went, "Crap's that?" They were going in.
I want to know I want to know how somebody in Atlanta's watching because I can't watch from Mount Sterling. My mom's right here.
And I was like, "What?" So yeah, we have ads. I didn't even know it was an option to pay $7.99, have ads, get 2 things, and you'll never get hacked.
I don't know. Why would one allow you to be hacked and the other one not? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's another way to
They're
get.
the only ones that watch Netflix.
That's another way to get.
So we're
You
talking
watch
about
some
dynasty
ads.
football.
Let's pick some games.
Is Neil here?
Yep, that's what we were talking about. Somehow, some way, we managed to get completely around that topic.
I don't know. I mean, I think the aspect of expanding a dynasty football league from 10 to 12 is interesting. Um,
How many players can we get off of Spencer's team?
well,
That's the dude that's holding me
Well,
down right now.
but now wait a minute. What if the lines go out and just drop a complete egg? He's losing that week.
Hopefully,
Hopefully about it. He is. Does he have both running backs?
the football game must be on Netflix because it just froze in the middle.
Does he have both running backs?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's got golf,
Yeah.
both running backs.
Yeah.
St. Brown.
Yeah.
He don't have Laporta.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like he's got somebody else. But and because they put up 52 points twice this year, I mean he's gone off twice this year. I mean he's got other good,
and somehow Trey
if they put up
making
10,
it better because he gave him Nico Collins and Devon Mitchell.
yeah. But I don't know. It's interesting because as a owner of one of the current teams now, and you are too, how many?
Which is why I brought it up.
How many?
Like talking about this kind of stuff.
How many players? You go onto your list and you're like, when you say, okay, these players, no problem, and then you go, there's about 3 or 4 players on that list. You go, I don't want that guy to go on the list, and so that's when it becomes as a current owner, you kind of go, oh, I hope he don't put that player on his team. So
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 10 teams. We talked about making 3. It couldn't take more than 2 or 3 players off of your team. You have to make X amount of teams available, and they should be able to fill each of their team with the 30 players. We could lock in 15, right? That leaves 10 players on our bench that are available for them to take no more than 3 of, and that gives them 15 players each to start their team. That's the research that
I think me and you went back and forth about the lock in 10 or lock in 15.
Yeah.
Locking in a starting lineup, and our starting lineup has
13.
Our starting lineup has 13 people in it.
12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
I
think it's 13.
Yeah, because we got 12 on our. We have 25 total roster, not including our.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is our starting lineup.
10?
Yeah. 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex. I'm sorry, 3 wide receivers. 10 players. So that's kind of where me and you differ. I was kind of like, do you want them to make it chilling to somebody to come in and be the 11th, 12th team? I think that all the teams have to say, okay, I'm locking in start line. I'm locking in 10 players. That means the other 20 players on your roster is kind of off limits, unless you want to do something like your start lineup and your off limits.
It's like Neil couldn't take 3 off of your team, and then whoever else is coming in take 3 off your team.
No.
Lose 3
Right,
total.
Right, but they would still end up with 15 players.
Yeah.
I mean, the expansion team would end up with 15 players, and then they would be able to do
15 because then
they could, but I don't know that it makes it appealing enough and
But
make them
maybe do it at
competitive.
12. You know, I don't know. Maybe do it at 12. I just feel like that. You
It's
know,
always got to be his idea.
well, I'm just going off of what I have researched, and nobody is locked in just to the starting line.
What's your idea?
I will be the lead Texas.
Hilarious. You don't have just Taxi Squad. You've got a pretty good core. You've got Bo Nix, you're welcome. You got Jonathan Taylor.
You're welcome.
You've got Say Flowers.
You're welcome.
You've got Garrett Wilson. Chase Brown is going to be.
You're welcome. Like
Chase Brown is pretty good.
I gave you Akers too. He's starting with hell half my daggone roster.
I've got Rookie Pearsall, and then all the rest of it. You've got good bones, plus you've got 3 first-round picks. One for 2026, so he can. But now think about it though. 2026. Who comes out in 2026?
He has no idea.
Rich Manning
Look,
comes out in
don't start
2026.
that kind of crap because you're assuming you're still going to suck. Your team's getting better. You're supposed to be playing for my draft pick this year, and you keep winning.
I'm going to lose.
About time.
But that's the whole. That's the appeal to the 2026.
People that are wanting to come into this though would like to see what it would look like. So we have to figure out if we're interested in doing it, and ultimately what it's going to look like. Because how do you do the draft picks? We currently have it set up, and then we'll move on in just a second. But we currently have it set up now that whoever wins our consolation bracket gets the number 1 pick, right?
Well, they wouldn't this next year. They would get the 3rd pick.
Who would get the 3rd pick?
Whoever wins the consolation bracket.
So if we expand, that means if you win the consolation bracket, I wind up with the number 3 pick instead of the number 1 pick.
Correct.
Well, that sucks.
Well, does it?
Yeah.
You're still getting one of the top 4 picks, and I think one of the top 4 picks in any draft, in any rookie draft, has about a 75% hit rate.
So you think that the expansion teams automatically get number 1 and number 2?
This year. For this year. Only for this year.
Gotcha.
Then it would go back. But for this year, it has to happen. But it's not.
What?
And not only that, it's not snake. Remember, because it would be 1, 2, and then 10 more players, and then they would go 1, 2 again.
We threw something out there about the lottery picks when we were talking about this. You remember we talked about that, putting like the ping pong balls in and doing like a lottery draw, with the odds and stuff like that. We talked about that when we first started tabling this.
Yeah, I do remember that. I'd have to go back and read that, but I do remember something about that.
Again, I've looked at. I think it's entirely possible.
I think that's interesting for every rookie season, every rookie draft.
That's what I'm saying. I think the teams that don't make the playoffs, I think that's an option, of being able to do that, and you do it just the same like NBA does. Whoever had the worst record gets the most ping pong balls. And say if we go to 12 teams, 6 teams miss the playoffs. So first place would get 6 balls, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right?
It's just like
so your 6th place finishing team would have 1% chance of.
It's just like Dallas Wings winning the first pick. They beat the Sparks out. They were next to last, but they ended up with the first pick.
Right.
They got the page.
And the Sky wound up with like the 3rd pick.
They got the Sky ended up with the 3rd pick. Yeah. Which is where they were supposed to be anyways.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even realize that there was a team. And when you said Dallas Wings, I was like, isn't that the hockey team?
That's the stars.
It's actually
Yeah,
stars.
right.
I know. So, but I think we're getting to the point in the season now that we need to determine if we're going to do this. And when we voted, we had 9 yays and 1 nay, and the 1 nay said that he would conform to whatever we decided on it. But what we have to do is we have to get it to the point that, one, all 10 of us agree, and two, the 2 coming in would agree. And if we can't get to that, then
There's also
it has to be unanimous.
there's also another caveat, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay,
Fair.
gotcha. All right,
We don't
so
want to put that on video.
we are
Podcast.
we are ready to unveil this week's bracket that has caused controversy in amongst the 5 of us.
Yeah, because you've done it wrong,
Because
and you're still doing it wrong. But it's okay. Let's go with it.
Yeah. This week, we see this is based on our ranking.
Our rankings.
4 of the 5.
16.
4 or 5 of us did right.
Right. 16 boys.
Sorta. I'm sorry, I don't even mean to interrupt, but I only sent 12. I didn't know y'all were going to go down to 16 teams. But okay.
First point. 14 was Clemson. 13 Colorado. Number 12 Tennessee. And number 11 SMU. That gives us our first 2 teams in the bracket.
Which is Boise State at the 12 seed
State at
and Colorado at 4. It's a pretty big jump for Colorado. Which would lead you to believe that the other 4 people in this podcast lost complete total faith in BYU over 1 loss.
Well, yeah. Have you seen them
Colorado
the last
has
2
2
weeks?
losses, but whatever.
They should have
I mean,
lost
you
against
all kicked
Utah,
BYU completely off the list.
and they should have lost. Well, this is why it's good to put the rankings out, our individual rankings out, along with our.
That way, everybody can see the right one.
Which did it go?
Well, BYU come out in the 17.
Oh, I'm sure.
Interesting. All right. So then at number 10,
10 Miami, Georgia, okay. Alabama, Indiana. That would be one more.
Miami at number 3, which I got a bone to pick about that. Wes, you didn't even rank SMU, and they're first in the ACC.
Doesn't matter. Because I did my rankings right. I didn't do them as this week.
I think SMU wins the ACC.
And, it's
Keep saying that I'm doing it wrong, but I mean, I legit think SMU wins the ACC. Who's beating them?
Miami in the conference
No way.
championship game.
No way. I don't even know. There's no way.
You say no way, but I mean, Miami's only lost 1 game.
And they have barely won. Like you were just saying how close BYU had done. Miami literally had 2 games given to them by the refs.
Oh, here we go. It's always about the refs.
I'm just saying. We had that conversation on the show.
So we have 4 more in our ranking. That is number 4, Penn State. Number 3, Texas. Number 2,
Another one of them that you all did wrong. Oregon. Can you do the puking thing there when you make the video?
Texas.
First of all, Penn State is way overranked here. They've not beat anybody. They have no business being at number 4. They ain't beat nobody. And they lost to the one team they played.
The year
I ranked them at 8 or 7.
Ridley rode Penn State since our original brackets before the season.
Darren. Let me just tell you right now, you have Penn State ranked 8th on your list, and I had them 7th. Don't be sitting there saying you rode Penn State because you had them ranked the lowest of any of us.
Okay, but all right, let's just let.
Yeah.
No, I get that. And I have them in there too, but they don't need to be ranked 4th.
But being that they're ranked 4th doesn't mean that they're going to win the Big Ten. That just means they've only got one loss. Their one loss was to Ohio State in the 4th quarter. At that, I don't want to hear it. I know where you're getting ready to say it was the rest. They're not going to lose another game. They play Minnesota and they play Maryland, so they're only going to they're going to be 11-1. I understand they're not going to win the Big Ten. I think they're not going to win the Big Ten because it's either going to be Oregon or Ohio State, unless Indiana beats Ohio State. They're not going to win the Big Ten. They're not going to be in the Big Ten championship game. They're only going to have one loss. That puts them way up in the rankings. It also is probably going to put them in the 5 hole.
No.
Or the 6 hole. Just kind of depends on where they, it just kind of depends on where they end up.
They won't be in the 5 hole because whoever loses between Ohio State and Oregon will be in that spot.
They'll be ranked below Penn State.
Who?
Whoever loses the conference championship game might
No way.
Might be
I'll put
below them.
$100 on it right now. There is no way in hell that Penn State gets into a 5 spot or above.
But no, let's just say Oregon wins, and that's what you want to happen.
Penn State.
Yeah.
You all are assuming that Ohio State's going to beat Indiana.
I just said that.
Playing him right here. He is saying, Brent is mine. Exactly where he was going. Oh, if Oregon was to beat Ohio State in the conference championship, they get the one.
I know, but
I am going to argue
now,
a
wait a
different
minute.
angle here, though.
Wait a minute. But even if Ohio State won, and let's just say Ohio State won by 2 touchdowns, 10 points even, I think there's the possibility that Penn State jumps Oregon. I know they've been.
That's what he's saying. And
no, that's not what he's saying. He's saying that if Oregon wins and goes undefeated, Ohio State gets 2 losses, drops below Penn State. That will happen. But if Oregon loses, and depending on how much it is, I fully can see Oregon dropping below Penn State also, just because the committee was like, well, I mean, Penn State lost to Ohio State late in the game, only by a touchdown. I think they deserve the 5 hole.
So I'm going to throw another scenario. We're all just assuming that it's going to be 2 Big Ten teams here. But if an Alabama or a Georgia plays Texas in the SEC championship game and they beat Texas,
don't matter.
A 1-loss Texas will fall into that 5 hole over one of those ACC teams or Big Ten teams. But
Texas is going to have 2 losses.
Way that have they lost?
Yeah, they lost to Georgia.
That's right, they did, didn't they?
Keep up with your college football there.
Penn State
Czar.
is not.
Texas loses to Georgia in
For second time.
that means they only got beat. They got 2 losses, but they got beat by the
Oh.
Sean scenario could still play out in that Georgia is the 2 and Texas.
And this is why you do your rankings as it's the end of the very final rankings before it goes into the bracket.
So you think that Ohio State wins out, Big Ten title and all?
Yeah.
And you think that Texas wins out?
No.
Well, somebody does. Because Texas is number 2 on this list.
I mean, because you
Hell,
pick,
Georgia ain't even on there.
Texas is going to play.
no,
Oh,
because,
no, well, I
because
was
the
looking
major-
over in the bracket, but I mean,
because
Georgia ain't even on this.
right here.
Oh, I couldn't see that.
Because the majority, the average of us 5 has Texas as the conference champion.
Hmm.
I don't.
So you think Georgia wins?
Yes.
Believe it. 3.
No. You know, it's this is what the committee is going to run into. You know, not that they have 5
Texas-
people doing the same thing and they're averaging it out and stuff like that, but
I was the only one that had Texas at number 2. Everybody else had Texas at number 3.
but it doesn't matter about the rankings. I mean, it does. Texas at 2 is fine. I mean, I had Texas at 3 currently. Well, I had Texas at
Georgia,
3, and the more I
8.
think about that, I may have to redo that.
Was ranked 8, 12, 9, 8, and 7.
Right, but I've got them as conference champion.
So
That's why they're at 11.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you have them a conference champion if you rank them at 8?
Because
You're playing out the season.
because
They should have been right there in your bracket. See, that's what I'm saying. You all are not.
you can't do it week to week.
But that's what we are doing.
No, we're not.
Then Georgia should have been ranked 4th on your list.
No,
Or 2nd.
no. Why would Colorado? Where'd you rank Colorado?
14th.
But you had them in the 4.
No, not yet. I've got BYU there.
Anyways, there's a bunch of us that had them in the 4, and there's a bunch of us that had them in the 4 because they're the conference champion.
The only reason they fell into that is because nobody gave BYU any
That's
respect.
I just said that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But because what I'm saying is he's saying why is Georgia ranked 8th, but Colorado's the same difference. Colorado is the 13th out of average, is the 13th best team here, but they're going to make into the bye. So that's
because you all discarded BYU. Like that, everybody kicked BYU out other than me.
Ole Miss and Alabama in our ranking.
Yeah. Well, not on mine.
It's Texas, Alabama, Florida State. I don't care.
Well, because, and that's why I had Georgia above all those people. You know, because I knew that 2 losses, if they win the tiebreaker, which it's going to be a mess. But if they win the tiebreaker, they have to be above those other ones that are, Alabama and Tennessee.
Rankings wise, Georgia, if A&M or Texas, whichever one of them loses that game, Georgia and A&M and Texas A&M and Texas are the only ones that have an opportunity to be 1-loss SEC team.
Right.
one of them is going to have a 2-loss, and along with Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi.
Right.
So it's like in the grand scheme, how many are they only playing 7 SEC games? I thought it was 8.
I thought it was 9.
But
They hadn't expanded to 9 yet. They only played 8.
so yeah, so it's 8. South Carolina's already done their 8. But I mean, you got Ole Miss and Florida are going to play this weekend. That'll be Mississippi's 7th and Florida's 8th. So Mississippi has another. Who they play? Mississippi State.
Can agree on one thing. The winner of the college football playoff is coming from the ACC, or sorry, from the Big Ten or the SEC.
Yeah.
That's how Colorado ended up number 4, even though we ranked them at
Right. Right. Yeah.
I'm not going. Colorado will be dangerous if they have the right matchup.
So, I mean, let's just say, well, but let's just say that it plays out exactly like this.
I thought you had revealed it. We've named all the teams.
field.
Okay, well, put the rest of it because we read all the teams.
There's one mixing touchdown.
So we go to number 6, Penn State. They're going to take on number 11, Georgia.
Well, our average.
7 and 10 is Indiana and Ole Miss. The 8 and 9 matchup this week is Alabama and Notre Dame. Of course, Oregon and Kansas State.
That segment took a lot longer than I anticipated.
Because we got an argument.
Yeah. All right. Let me go. Let me ask this question, then we'll move on. We'll pick games. If Indiana loses to Ohio State this weekend by double digits, did they lose their opportunity to be in the playoff?
It's going to be tough. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say they're going to be out. They're still going to only have one loss in a Big Ten. And let's just say you left them in, then the Big Ten would have 4 teams in. See, I feel like, I know you probably don't feel this way, but I feel like the Big Ten will get 4 teams in. The SEC will get 4 teams in. And then you're going to have your Boise State and Notre Dame. And then your ACC. I think what you're thinking is ACC will get 2 teams in.
I think there's a good possibility.
Right. I mean, I can understand your thought,
but like, let me say this: if SMU and Miami play, and Miami loses, they're out. Okay, they'll have 2 losses. They're out. They're not in.
I can understand that.
Would be in. Then Clemson doesn't get the opportunity to play for the ACC because they're in 3rd right now, right? So they would not make it in. I don't think that a 1-loss ACC that wasn't in the ACC championship game is going to make it in either. I think Clemson only has 1 ACC loss.
They do.
So they're not going to make it in either. So SMU, Miami, it's very possible that there is only 1 ACC team and 1 Big 12 team. I don't know that the Big 12 deserves to have more than I don't know that BYU is way above their game right now. But if BYU beats Colorado, Colorado's out. Arizona State is hot right now. They've got 2 losses in the Big 12. Kansas State's out. I mean, it's a 3-team race right now between Arizona State, Colorado, and BYU.
It takes another L.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
and there's not a lot.
cannot lose.
There's not a lot of games. There's only 2 games left, and there's not a lot of games that a lot of those people play that makes you think they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, USC, maybe.
There's no way that Army does not go in there and beat Notre Dame
No,
at home.
They've already beat Navy,
and they murdered them.
And I think Army's going to end up the same way. I think it'll be a little bit closer because they play a little bit more defense, a little bit more of a ground game, so they might slow it down. But I don't think they're going to beat Notre Dame. I just don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of change in there because I don't think that there's enough games that really matter.
Now, what could possibly happen is if Boise State continues to climb and Colorado doesn't, surpass them in rankings, you could wind up seeing Boise State in that 4 spot. And Colorado dropping, that screws everything up. But I don't know that Boise passes Colorado. If Colorado
that's where the switch
out, I don't know that they are ranked below.
That's where the switch will be. It would just be between the 12 seed and the 4 seed. That's where your switch can be. Can Boise get ranked above the Big 12 enough to get that 4 seed, and then the Big 12 will drop to the 12 seed.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily. The Big 12 wouldn't be locked into the 12.
Yes, it would.
Because that 12 is not a guaranteed. It's highest ranked after that. I mean, it's So Colorado.
Say they are the champion. You actually could have a conference champion in the past.
Right. But that's going to be.
Oh, they're not going to make that far.
It's going to be different.
You're right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I guess you're right. I guess they could move up to 11 or 10, or I think they'll still be a double-digit seed, but they may not be in that 12. Yeah. I see what you're saying. All right, let's pick games.
Like the new sheet.
That was your pause. That was a great pause.
I'm getting there. All right, so standings. I am still in last place with 68 points. Wes dropped back down to fourth with 60.
You're still in last place, and you didn't go ahead and put your dog pick in bold?
No. Neil with 69 as well. Adam has jumped up to second with 70, and Darren is still in first place with 78.
Who's Aaron?
Yeah.
Aaron.
Let's see here. I've confusing myself with the sheet the way I designed it. I've got to. Well, I couldn't get it. It was just not working the other way, and I was like, I could not do it. So I designed this out, and then figured out how to do it a little bit better. So I was just going ahead and pre-writing some of these down. So our first game, we're getting into some action.
That's right, baby.
So Wednesday night, 7:00.
Wednesday night.
Ohio Bobcats versus the Toledo Rockets.
I thought that was his job.
I've done it the last couple of weeks, so I like doing it. I don't like the way he does it.
See, man.
So, Sean, who are you going with? I didn't even look at this game. I have no idea. Is this a close game? Is that why we're picking this?
Well, they're both 7-3, and basically, the winner of this game is probably going to be in the conference championship game, and the winner of next week's game, a little hint for next week, between Miami of Ohio and
Bowling Green.
Bowling Green would be the other one that's in the conference championship.
Yeah. So has everybody gone away from divisions now?
Pretty much.
because they used to have divisions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's both pretty close points wise. All that you just got to figure. I'm going to roll with the home team. I'm going to go with Toledo.
So I get to pick next because Neil's not here. And I'm older.
Well, it's your pick.
Age before. I mean, it
that-
could be either me or Neil.
He could, but I didn't want to move his name. So.
But I'm here, and I'm here, and age before beauty. So, I think I'm going with Coach Doug's and the Toledo Rockets.
All right. Darren, would you like to make it a clean sweep with with Toledo?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There you are.
Because you're in the lead and you have you have 8 points to burn.
Oh, is he their quarterback?
Are we supposed to know who that is?
You don't know who JT Haskins is?
Well, they went on to play for Ohio, where it was freshman transfer to Louisville. And then was the quarterback for the Kentucky or the Lexington Wolfpack.
So JT Haskins played for Ohio State. That was Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
He's dead now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Rip.
Wilkie has more. And when he went down for injury, that's when Portland picked up.
Oh, what a great time to be a Horseman fan.
So
And then they turned it.
There's a long way getting there, but we got there. So, okay. Big noon kickoff. Indiana versus Ohio State. Anybody want to take a guess who I'm picking?
OH.
Not them. Indiana Hoosiers.
Really? You're going with
I'm
Sig.
in last place.
By 1 point.
What's it going to hurt? I'm in last place by 10 points.
You're
I'm going to make up
Oh, see,
my dog pick.
this is
Hey,
I
I
really,
think I have Oregon at my number one spot.
I really like Coach Sig, and
This is his statement game.
I mean, here's my worry. I'm picking Ohio State,
I assumed everybody else would.
and I'll tell you why. I think that Indiana should have waited until the end of the year to give him his 8-year contract, knowing they were going to do it anyways. And I don't know that Coach Sig really cares that he got an 8-year contract, but I think he probably does. And I think they gave him it to him at the wrong time. Not to say that they wouldn't have given it to him, even with a loss here, and would have made, maybe the 12 or a really good bowl, which they will make a really good bowl and everything like that. I think they gave it to him at the wrong time. And I think that Ohio State needs this game to propel themselves to the number one spot. So, Buckeyes.
Not surprised. Yes, they both took Ohio State as well. My atomic dog is dropped to a half a point today.
So it can't be an atomic dog. So now what's it at? 4.5?
Yeah.
I love it.
Son of a bus.
even though it contradicts.
Can I buy a half point? No, you can't pick the Hoosiers. Toledo. 12 o'clock game, Ole Miss at Florida.
Man.
So DJ Lagway has started 3 games and completed 3 games. In those games, they have averaged 40 points and they are 3-0.
Yeah.
Give me the Jaders over Ole Miss.
And I think, man, it's going to be a good atmosphere. But Mississippi's defense is playing at another level right now. Give me the Rebels.
Neil and Adam also Ole Miss.
But there. He's got points to burn. He's going to do them just keep you out, keep you away.
Hey, if you're making your picks because of the last place team, then you're in the wrong business. That's all I can say. Because that's 3 points right there that I'm willing to risk that he doesn't need to. He should have stayed with you guys on those picks. All right, next game, 3:30, BYU versus Arizona State. And we talked about this. This is a huge game. This is a spot in the. Let me verify that. Yeah, I mean this is for a spot in the Big 12 title game at Arizona State. Arizona State is 5-0 at home this year. Make that 6-0 as they eliminate BYU. I'm coming with some stats tonight.
Forks up. Give me the Sun Devils.
Got a split here. Neil took BYU. Adam took Arizona State. And I'm assuming
That's
you're
going
taking them too.
That's going to be a big fork on the video. People will be like, "What do they do?" Oh.
All right, 7 o'clock game. Army versus Notre Dame. I assume this is a clean sweep across the board with Notre Dame.
Yes.
Anybody not picking them?
Golden Domes.
What about you, Darren? You got the cojones to pick Auburn or Army? Oh man! So my dog pick was going to be UCLA over USC.
Good pick.
It was 5 points earlier, and it's 4.5 now. Damn, Vegas.
That would be a good one.
I mean, I really need to swing for the fences because at this point it doesn't matter if I don't. If I don't win a dog pick, I'm not catching up. An atomic dog pick, that is. That's not happening. There's no way that's happening. That's not happening.
I think that's the first time that somebody's gotten bit by the point spread.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's go with this one. Let's take Pitt over Louisville.
Without, what's his name?
Atomic dog.
Holstein.
He didn't play this past week. That doesn't mean he ain't playing this week. And believe it or not, that quarterback played pretty dang good. Clemson got lucky to win that game because Klubnik broke a 50-yard touchdown run loose. So
I'm glad you took that. Because I'm taking Atomic Dog too.
okay.
Who'd I tell you was going to get fired at the end of the year earlier?
I don't remember.
Who'd I tell you was going to get fired at the end of the year?
Oh, Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly, because Diego Pavia came for me once, and he's going to do it again.
I actually looked at that game, but
Give me Vandy plus 7.5.
back-to-back losses in
Straight up win.
LSU at night.
Give it to
I
me.
don't see it happening. Atomic Dog.
Of course.
Neil has picked an Atomic Dog. Let's see what the spread is to verify. See if I can find the game. See if you can help me find the game. NC State. Saying NC State. Dog.
I saw
Atomic Dog.
Come on, phone.
It could be an early game.
NC State is.
Oh, yeah. +9 against Georgia Tech.
He'll lose that one.
Probably. Adam is going straight dog, which this is an interesting play. Ball State +12.5, who just fired their coach today.
Against. Oh, wait a minute. Are they playing Kennesaw? No.
He texted me and told me who they were playing. Bowling Green.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
I know.
Darren, are you going for the knockout punch, or are you going to do a hero and risk at 5 points?
He's that dumb. He burned a couple of regular games. He ain't that dumb.
Oregon State. Yes. Number 29. Washington State.
I like that.
Probably.
Oops. Maybe I don't like it.
Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bet the team has been losing their tail. Oh, man. Well, that was a jam-packed show. It took a lot longer than I anticipated.
True. That's okay.
We got some good quality content in.
We did.
That's going to kill us.
Yes, he
Kept
is.
him here almost 9 o'clock.
I heard him on the phone in there. These
Yeah,
damn,
he's like,
these
"They won't
damn
leave,
idiots.
damn it."
God.
All right, guys. Well, another great episode. If you are watching us on YouTube,
Come
be
to
sure to
Win
follow
City
us.
Sports Cards. Look at this stuff.
Absolutely.
Look at this stuff.
Thanks again to Win City Sports Cards, as always, for allowing us to come spend some time here on a Monday night. And, be sure to tune in to our Monday show or our coach show Monday night and tune in here every Saturday.
Watch Win City Sports Card on Facebook. He does a PSA or a SGC reveal almost every day because
nice.
people, and so those are pretty cool to see what kind of grades come back on cards.
That's awesome.
Mega.
Right. Absolutely. All right, guys. Catch you guys next week.